Hello everybody. For all of you who got the Triang Rocket set, some of you may find that the locomotive won't actually run. This is due to the motor generally. Obviously the motors are now probably around 50 years old and they are very difficult to get hold of. I tried to get one through eBay and various other places, but you just cannot get them. Even if you can, they're quite expensive to buy, around about £25–30, and there's no guarantee that it's going to work anyway. So I tried to service the motor myself, actually managed to get it running. But when you put it back in the locomotive, there's just not enough power there to turn the wheels, and I believe this is probably down to the magnet in the motor having lost its magnetism. Again, I tried to remagnetise the motor, which gave some improvement, but still not enough power to run the locomotive. So I decided to look around for alternatives. Was there a motor that could fit inside the rocket and would give more power than the original motor? So eventually I found a Mabuchi open frame motor on eBay. You can get them from other sources, but the person on eBay who's selling these motors sells them for £10, so I thought it was a reasonable price. Even if it wouldn't work, at least I've tried to put something else in, and there didn't seem to be anything else available. Say you can't get the original motors, or they're very difficult to get hold of now. So I had a look and found that the Mabuchi motor is an open frame motor with a 1.5mm shaft on it. Fits very well inside the rocket, and the only problem is that you've got to find some way of actually fixing it inside the body, because other than that it's actually a very good fit. The other problem is that the worm gear needs to come off of the old motor to go onto the Mabuchi motor. The other problem there is that the hole in the worm gear is slightly larger than the 1.5mm shaft on the Mabuchi motor, so therefore it's just slightly loose. I actually found that by super gluing it onto the shaft and leaving it overnight, it actually holds very well onto the shaft. In fact, I tried pulling it off and I couldn't get it to come off, so that was good enough to drive the locomotive. The only other thing is to actually fix it inside the locomotive. I've used the front plastic plate off of the old motor, which is the Triang X500 motor. So there's a plastic plate on the front that has a small projection on it that fits in a hole into the locomotive. Now, by using that front plate, it means that the worm gear is properly lined up with the gear on the driving wheels. Without that, you'd have to find some way of making up a plate or something that would keep the worm gear in line with the gear on the driving wheels. So I took the front plate off, and there's a piece on there that needs to be cut off so that it's flush with the front of the Mabuchi motor, and that was just simply super glued onto the front of the motor. Again, that seems to be holding very well. The other thing I've done is remove the resistor that's inside the rocket itself. This was to try and slow down the motor so it didn't run around the track too fast. There's also an interference suppressor, and I've removed that as well. So and I put a wire directly from the negative side, because it's a split chassis. I've put a wire directly from that onto the motor, and also the wire from the positive side goes directly to the other terminal on the motor as well, because the wheels themselves are actually the power pickups, and they go to say either side of the split chassis. The other thing I've done is to you might notice I polished the treads on the wheels, so they were blackened previously, and since polishing up the wheels, running seems to be a lot better as well. The rear wheels as well, they also act as electrical pickups on the locomotive, so those have been polished as well. So hopefully the engine will now run without me having to prod it. It's still in the running in stage at the moment. I've literally just done this today, and I'm still running it in, but I've run it a few times, and as you can see, there are 6 coaches behind the rocket. Now let's have a go and see if we can get it to go. Oh, there we go, with a wheel spin, and off we go. Just slowing down there, and do a reverse now, and we do a reverse. As you can see, it runs pretty well to the end of my test track there. Slight bit of wheel spin, there's a slight incline there, but 6 coaches is it's just need a slight plod. Oh, there we go. So I hope that gives some hope to anybody who's got a Triang Rocket that doesn't work, and you've been slightly found it difficult to get a new motor. Say it might be best to try and source one of these Mabuchi motors. Say there are several places, if you just Google Mabuchi open frame micro motor 12 volts, and you should find it either on eBay or from one of the retailers. Anyway, thanks for looking, and good luck. Thanks a lot. Bye bye.